Liu Ruyan was pregnant with the male assistant's child. On the 9th anniversary, he brought her home. Feng Qingyun told me calmly that the 3 meals a day in the future should not be repeated. He sleeps lightly and you snore too loudly. After packing up my things and moving to the guest bedroom, I didn't say anything. I took the luggage that had been packed long ago and walked towards the door calmly. The housekeeper wanted to dissuade me, but he sneered and said, "Let him do whatever he wants. Anyway, he will roll back like a dog in less than 3 days." Everyone laughed when they heard it. They bet 10 million in front of me that I would not survive tonight. I would be like a mangy dog, crying and begging Liu Ruyan to let me in, but they didn't know that the Maybach arranged by that person had been waiting outside the door. This time I really wanted to leave. When I was about to walk out of the villa gate, Liu Ruyan suddenly called me Shendu and asked me to leave your peace bracelet. Auntie has been having nightmares recently. The bracelet is a relic left to me by my parents. When she met my red eyes, the woman was very cold. You name a price. How much can a 9-year marriage worth? I am too lazy to calculate. I only know that it was at the ski resort last time. The result of refusing to give the goggles to Feng Yi was that the bodyguard stripped her clothes and abandoned her halfway up the mountain. I took off the safety bracelet and brought it to Feng Yi. I told him that I wish you 3 happiness and peace. Hearing this blessing, Liu Ruyan gave me a step to Shendu for the first time. As long as you are obedient enough. Our children are also your children. As soon as the woman finished speaking, the bracelet on Feng Yi's hand slipped and broke. Seeing Feng Yi's leg scratched, Liu Ruyan ran over distressed, and the doctor ordered the housekeeper to notify the family doctor. Liu Ruyan's anxious look made everyone present laugh. Seeing me in this situation, not only they found it funny, even I found it funny. When I had a heart attack last night, Liu Ruyan wanted to go out to watch the meteors with Feng Yi. Even if I fainted with foam at the mouth, he remained calm and stepped over me before losing consciousness. I heard him instruct the housekeeper to disinfect the entire living room. Tomorrow, when my aunt returns home, she must not smell the bad smell. Holding the luggage handle tightly, I turned around and wanted to leave, but Liu Ruyan grabbed my wrist with a cold face and apologized. God didn't wait for me to finish my words. I was pushed down in front of Feng Yi by him, and my knees rubbed against the jade fragments and stained red and white. Seeing the blood on the ground, Liu Ruyan showed disgust and let go. You broke my aunt's bracelet with a little trick. I also hurt her. Shouldn't I say sorry to her? After Liu Ruyan got married, the 3 words, "I'm sorry," became my catchphrase. The soup was too bland. I'm sorry. I was worried that she would get drunk and feel uncomfortable. I sent her a message to disturb her. I'm sorry. I accidentally saw Feng Yi's text message asking her to go to the hotel. I violated her privacy. I'm really sorry. I bit the meat in my mouth. I stood up resignedly, bowed 180 degrees to Feng Yi, and after apologizing 3 times, I looked at Liu Ruyan silently. I asked him softly if it was enough. Staring at the blood at the corner of my lips, the woman's chest rose and fell obviously. Shendu, the old man you rely on when you are drunk is not here. Who are you pretending to be so disgusting and pitiful? Before I could reply, the family doctor arrived in a hurry, pushed me out of the way, and Liu Ruyan led the doctor to Feng Yi. When his heart and eyes were full of Feng Yi, I walked out of the gate quickly. As soon as I walked out of the villa, I heard 2 beeps of the horn. Seeing the silver-white car outside the iron gate, I couldn't help but speed up my pace. However, before the iron gate opened, 2 bodyguards suddenly appeared. Forcibly took me back to the villa. Liu Ruyan tied me up in the study and ordered someone to pierce my arm with a needle as thick as RB. Through the half-open door, I heard the doctor say to Liu Ruyan that Mr. Liu and Special Assistant Feng, although both have Rh panda blood, Mr. Ku has a history of heart disease since childhood. Forcible blood extraction is likely to cause acute shock. I think it is better to go to the hospital first. Compare blood transfusion treatment for Special Assistant Feng, who is anemic. No need to persuade me, Liu Ruyan said coldly. Your only task is to restore Auntie's health. As for other things, I have my own sense of propriety. I heard the footsteps of Liu Ruyan approaching. I slowly closed my eyes. Is it painful? The woman said comfortingly. Bear with it a little longer. It will be done soon. I turned my head away, too lazy to talk nonsense with him. After 800 liters of venous blood were drawn, my lips were already purple. At this time, Feng Yi, who was lying in the master bedroom, suddenly started coughing. Hearing the sound, Liu Ruyan immediately pressed the doctor's hand to remove the needle. Asking him to draw double blood, the doctor was sweating and told Liu Ruyan that if I continued to draw like this, I would probably die. After hesitating for 2 seconds, the woman only said that everything should be based on my aunt, but I interrupted the doctor's dissuasion and said, "Draw it and let me leave after it's done." Looking at my bloodless face, Liu Ruyan's eyes were full of coldness. She opened her mouth and was about to ask me if I had made a fuss. Could it be that he really wanted to run away from home for a little thing? Fang Yi said weakly, and Ruyan immediately hooked him away. 2 days later I was hospitalized for shock. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw Liu Ruyan reviewing documents. Our eyes met for a long time. He had no expression on his face. He brought me a bowl of porridge and pretended to feed me, but I shook my head and said I would do it myself. He looked at me quietly. After eating half a bowl of porridge, Liu Ruyan asked me if I felt uncomfortable. I answered irrelevantly and asked me to give him my phone. Maybe my tone was too distant. Liu Ruyan was stunned for several seconds before she contacted the housekeeper to send my phone over. Glancing at the many missed calls on her phone, Liu Ruyan suddenly asked who was calling. He had never had so many questions to ask in the past. A trace of annoyance flashed across his eyes. I just said you didn't know him. Unbuttoning the top button of his shirt, Liu Ruyan looked down at me coldly. Shindu, how long are you going to keep your dog temper? I'll teach you a lesson. Are you really planning to open a dyeing factory? In the past, when Liu Ruyan was angry, I would reflect on myself and try my best to comfort her. But now I just pointed at her vibrating phone and told her expressionlessly that Fang Yi was looking for you. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan smiled in her eyes and habitually avoided me and went to the hospital corridor. As soon as the person left, my phone rang. I answered the call, and before I could speak, the person on the other end of the phone spoke anxiously. Didn't you agree to come find me? Shindu, do you regret it? I didn't regret it. It's just that I encountered an accident. What happened to you? No, I must return to China in person to interrupt the man's chattering. I lowered my eyes and pursed my lips. Just give me a few more days. When Liu Ruyan returned to the ward, I just ended the call. She noticed that there was a smile on the corner of my mouth that he hadn't seen for a long time. The woman felt inexplicably stuffy in her chest, but he had just promised Fang Yi that he would go with him to choose a baby bed, so he didn't have time to ask me who I was talking to just now. It must be the cousin who often came to see me. After all, after marrying him, I have no friends left. Taking the documents away, Liu Ruyan didn't even turn her head and said coldly, Shandu, there is something at the company, I will come tomorrow. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow he didn't show up. However, thanks to mutual friends, I kept receiving videos about him and Fang Yi. He took Fang Yi to a banquet and dinner, like an innocent girl who had just fallen in love, and couldn't wait to introduce his lover to everyone. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, Liu Ruyan posted a 9-square circle of friends. At sunset, he stood on a romantic hot air balloon and kissed Fang Yi affectionately. I posted a comment wishing the two of you a son soon and a long-lasting love. 10 minutes later, Liu Ruyan called me, but I didn't answer. Half an hour later, after I had completed the discharge procedures alone, I saw Liu Ruyan and Fang Yi at the door of the obstetrics and gynecology department. I heard the nurse at the consultation desk say to Liu Ruyan, Mrs. Fang, your husband really loves you. He accompanies you every time you come. When you do B ultrasound examinations, he is afraid that you will be cold from the coupling agent, so he warms it up personally every time before allowing us to use it on you. When the pregnant women around heard the nurse say this, they all showed envy and subconsciously remembered that we once had a child, but Liu Ruyan secretly slipped away without telling me. That day, Fang Yi also sent me a voice message, saying that General Manager Liu lost to me in the game, and he could only have children for me in the future. Before I could reply, Liu Ruyan called back in less than a minute. Without asking the reason, she scolded me for being petty and stupid. She also said to Shandu, a coward like you, what qualifications do you have for me to have children for you? If I have to have a child, I have to find someone with good genes. Retracting my thoughts, I was about to take a detour when Liu Ruyan came over with a cold face. What are you standing there for like an idiot? I lowered my eyes and instinctively explained to her that I was not following you. It was really just a coincidence that I met you. Sorry to bother you. Wait. When Liu Ruyan frowned and shouted this, a trace of light flashed across Fang Yi's eyes. He quickly tightened his hand around Liu Ruyan. Fang Yi smiled at me and said, Mr. Shun, I am especially grateful for your blood transfusion. If it weren't for you, I would still be dizzy now. Mr. Liu, please let Mr. Shin go home with us, okay? Liu Ruyan looked at Fang Yi with relief. She is the kindest aunt in the world. Whatever you say is what it is. I was about to go back to get my luggage, so I did not refuse Fang Yi's kindness. In the spacious black car, I soon found a pair of lace panties in the gap between the compartments as Fang Yi wished. Why is this thing still in the car? Mr. Liu, I forgot to deal with it. Fang Yi held the panties in his palm with an embarrassed look and carefully stuffed them into his pocket. Liu Ruyan beat Fang Yi's chest, while observing my expression inconspicuously. When he found that I was not angry at all, the boredom in the ward that day inexplicably hit my heart again. Shindu, you have been looking at your phone since you got in the car. The woman's tone was unfriendly, as if asking if you were chatting with your cousin, or someone else I didn't know. After booking the ticket, I turned off the screen of my phone and browsed the news. Hearing me say this, Liu Ruyan's displeasure became more obvious. Taking advantage of my unpreparedness, he snatched the phone. He asked me in a deep voice what the password was. It was my birthday and 9 years of marriage, such a simple 6-digit number. The woman kept entering it until the phone showed the lock screen, but she couldn't open my phone as she wished. We were speechless all the way and arrived at the destination. As soon as the car stopped, Liu Ruyan returned to Beijing and got on again, letting Fang Yi help her back to the master bedroom. Fang Yi was like the male host and asked the cook to make his favorite food. When going downstairs, the woman saw my lonely back walking towards the guest room. After thinking about it, he said to the cook to make 2 more dinners that the gentleman often eats. Prepare 3 sets of bowls and chopsticks. In the guest room, I opened my luggage and found that all my clothes were cut to pieces. Fortunately, my passport and ID placed on the inner layer were not damaged. When I picked up my ID and prepared to leave, Fang Yi blocked the door. He held a black bottle in his hand and looked me up and down with disdain. "Shindu, didn't expect you to be so tolerant? I had already entered your house and insulted you as a joke in the entire upper-class circle, but you still pestered me and refused to leave. That's right, the old lady in your Shin family just died of illness last month. Without this big backer, you have to cling to Mr. Liu as a life-saving straw." At this point, Fang Yi suddenly remembered an interesting thing. "Shandu, you cried and begged Mr. Liu that day to send you to the hospital by helicopter to see your grandmother for the last time. Do you know why he refused? Because he promised to accompany me to the beach to watch the sunset that day. Look at the kissing photo on the screen of my mobile phone. It was taken at that time." I knocked Fang Yi's mobile phone down with a snap. I couldn't bear it anymore and pinched him. Holding his neck, the bottle in Fang Yi's hand slipped, and I immediately smelled a pungent smell of gasoline. During the fight, Fang Yi, who was in a hurry, ignited the gasoline on the ground. Thick smoke scattered and flames were raging. I, who had just been discharged from the hospital, was soon choked, and my whole body lost strength and collapsed to the ground. At this time, I heard Liu Ruyan's voice, followed by Shandu and the servants' voices of stopping them. "Madam, it's too dangerous inside, you can't go in yet. Wait for the security personnel to get the fire extinguisher and open it. Shindu is still inside." The woman finally rushed into the house regardless of the danger, but she didn't expect that Fang Yi was also inside. Mr. Liu didn't need Fang Yi to finish his words. Liu Ruyan ran to him without hesitation, without even looking at me, and turned away directly. Half an hour later, after comforting Fang Yi, Liu Ruyan searched the entire villa but couldn't find me. At the airport late at night, after sending the express, I coughed and boarded the flight to the UK. Before the plane was about to take off, I received a text message from Liu Ruyan, saying that I don't have time to play hide and seek with you. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, Fang Yi had a prenatal checkup. You come with me to check his lungs. I didn't reply. I pulled out the phone card and turned off my phone. From now on, Liu Ruyan, you and I will never go to the hospital every other day. Ruyan, are you okay? How is our child? Facing Fang Yi's concerned eyes, Liu Ruyan hugged him immediately and replied softly, "I'm fine. The doctor said the child is healthy and not affected by yesterday's accident at all." "That's great. I saw that you had a serious expression and didn't say a word since you entered the hospital. I thought something was wrong with our baby." Fang Yi's unintentional words made the woman stunned for a moment. After a while, her mind uncontrollably emerged. In the raging fire, I looked at her cold eyes and frowned. The woman opened her mobile mailbox again, annoyed with me. Until now, I haven't replied her even a word. Obviously, no matter how she ignored me in the past, I always responded to her requests. Now I have learned to show off. With a sneer in my heart, Liu Ruyan accompanied Fang Yi out of the hospital. Later, when she arrived at the company, the woman had just entered the office when she heard her subordinates report to her that Mr. Liu had returned to China and summoned all the management to hold a meeting in conference room number 1. Upon hearing this, Liu Ruyan turned and walked towards the conference room, while casually instructing her subordinates to buy her a few sets of the latest suits and watches. The subordinates immediately said, "Okay, Mr. Liu, I'll arrange for someone to buy them now, and send them directly to Assistant Fang's residence after the purchase." Liu Ruyan stopped, pinched her nose and said, "Send them to the old house of the Shen family." In his opinion, after leaving the villa, I would have no other place to live except the old house of the Shen family. One late night a week later, Liu Ruyan, who had finally finished the project, returned home and saw a figure in clothes, curled up on the sofa in the living room like a shrimp. "How many times has Shindu told you that I will go home naturally after I'm done with my work, and you don't have to go closer to see clearly every time?" The man on the sofa was Fang Yi. Liu Ruyan's ridicule and complaints came to an abrupt end. Being stared at coldly by him, Fang Yi couldn't help but shudder. His expression both dissatisfied and, it's both aggrieved and pitiful. "Ruyan, he hasn't come back for a while. I sent him many apology messages but he ignored them. Otherwise I'd better move out." Seeing Fang Yi's aggrieved look, Liu Ruyan secretly hugged him with heartache, kissed his face perfunctorily, and told him to take care of himself and not to think too much. "Whether Shindu accepts it or not, this will be your home from now on." Half an hour after finishing this promise, Liu Ruyan, wearing a bathrobe, leaned on the open-air balcony alone to smoke. She knew she couldn't smoke when she was pregnant, but for some reason she couldn't help wanting to smoke tonight. For some reason, Liu Ruyan slid her phone and saw my phone number at the bottom of the address book. Her thumb pressed on the dial button. After smoking 2 cigarettes for a long time, the woman did not choose to make a call, but sent a warning message to Shandu, saying that tomorrow is the old man's 80th birthday. I advise you not to play tricks at the birthday party and cause trouble for me and my aunt. On the day of Mr. Liu's birthday, Liu Ruyan and Fang Yi went to the balcony to celebrate. They attended the banquet like a pair of intimate lovers. It was not until Mr. Liu himself entered that Liu Ruyan let go of Fang Yi's hand and walked to Mr. Liu's side to accompany him in entertaining the important guests. Why didn't Shendu come with you? Facing Mr. Liu's pointed question, the man pursed his thin lips and said, I'm sorry, Grandpa Shendu has been busy preparing gifts these days. I think he is too tired, so I let him rest for a while and come back later. 2 hours passed quickly, and the birthday banquet had reached the finale of gift-giving and birthday celebration, but I still didn't show up. Suppressing the growing sense of uneasiness in my heart, Liu Ruyan walked to the corner, took out her mobile phone and called my number. Hello, the number you called. She continued to redial without giving up, but still only got a mechanical busy tone. At this time, a courier walked into the banquet hall and delivered the 3 gifts I sent. Facing the curious eyes, Mr. Liu smiled warmly and unwrapped the first gift. Inside was a lifelike embroidery. The picture of 100 gods celebrating the birthday was embroidered by me after months of hard work. Moved, Mr. Liu opened the second gift with tears in his eyes. It contained the ancestral gemstone given to me by my grandmother when Liu Ruyan and I got married. The moment he saw the gemstone, the whole audience suddenly fell silent. Everyone knew what it meant to return the ancestral gemstone in the upper circle of wealthy families. Before Mr. Liu could come to his senses, Liu Ruyan, whose face was as black as charcoal, secretly clenched her fists and walked to the third gift. As I had imagined, the woman with a cold face opened the last gift I prepared with her own hands. The box was very large, but there were very few things inside, only a divorce agreement and an experience report. Liu Ruyan was stunned. I was actually going to divorce him. How could this be possible? After seeing what was written on the experience report, Mr. Liu slapped Liu Ruyan hard in public. You beast, look at what you have done. If I had known this would happen, I should not have let you marry Shendu. You have ruined her life. Seeing that Mr. Liu was so angry that he almost fainted, Liu's family hurriedly helped her away. After everyone left, Liu Ruyan still stood there motionless, looking at the divorce agreement in her hand. After an unknown amount of time, she had a blank expression and tore the agreement to pieces. If it weren't for Fang Yi shouting behind him, he would have taken the keys from the driver and drove to the Shan's old house himself. Unfortunately, the old house was dark inside and outside. He lowered the car window and stood guard at the gate of the courtyard, smoking all night until his throat was swollen and his voice was hoarse. Liu Ruyan couldn't wait until the lights came on. It was not until the 5th day after the birthday banquet that he found out that I had gone abroad. Why did I go abroad? Didn't I want to see him so much? Didn't he make a mistake that all women in the world have made? Why did Shendu say he would not see me and divorce me if he said he would? He didn't agree and he didn't allow it. After spending a lot of effort to find out my specific place of residence, Liu Ruyan immediately decided to leave as soon as possible. Liu Ruyan sighed and said, I have asked someone to prepare a new place for you. You should move there today. Hearing this, Fang Yi's tears suddenly burst out. As long as I can be with you, I am willing to live in a garbage dump, but I am the father of the child. Do you really want to separate the father and son as soon as the child is born? If Shendu really loves you, he should treat our child as his own, instead of deliberately ruining grandfather's birthday party and making you and the Liu family have such a big feud in front of outsiders? People like him. Before Fang Yi finished venting his resentment, the indifferent woman couldn't help but interrupt him. What qualifications do you have to judge my husband, Fang Yi? I thought you were very sensible, but now it seems that you probably haven't put yourself in the right position. Taking over the staff handed over the boarding pass. Liu Ruyan looked down at Fang Yi indifferently and said to him, no matter who the father of my child is, Shendu will always be my only husband. By the way, you must take all your things with you when you leave the villa. I don't want Shendu to get angry with me again when he comes back because he sees things about you. Fang Yi's face was full of tears. He was stunned for a while, then cried and smiled at the woman's back. Liu Ruyan, I didn't expect you to be more naive than me. You hurt Shendu so deeply, how could he come back? It is said that men understand men best, but Liu Ruyan, who strode away, didn't take Fang Yi's words to heart at all. He thought he knew me very well. In the past 9 years, no matter how angry I was with him, as long as he apologized sincerely and bought some flattering gifts, he could coax me immediately. After thinking for a long time, Liu Ruyan got off the plane and found a local tattoo shop. She took out a design I sent to him 5 years ago and did a tattoo. The tattoo master said I was in a hurry and didn't need to use anesthesia. 7 hours later, Liu Ruyan, wearing a blood-stained white dress, walked out of the tattoo shop quickly and bought gifts worth tens of millions and 999 pure white roses. Liu Ruyan, who hadn't closed his eyes for nearly 48 hours, drove tirelessly to a vineyard on the outskirts of London. On the highway, he was nervous and excited, and calculated the perfectly designed apology process in his mind over and over again. However, no matter how he assumed and calculated, the first sentence he said to me was always the sincere Shendu, I miss you so much. Finally, Liu Ruyan found me in a foreign country, but the flowers in his hand fell suddenly after seeing me for the first time. As the sun set, I was holding a gentle and lovely woman in my arms, with a comfortable smile on her face that he had never seen before. Liu Ruyan didn't say, "I miss you so much." He just asked me stupidly who he was. Feeling that my body was a little stiff, Pei Qingshi silently snuggled into my arms. "You are Liu Ruyan, right? I've seen your wedding photo with Shan Du. I didn't expect that you'd be uglier in person than in the photo." Seeing that I was no longer nervous because of Pei Qingshi, I covered my mouth and chuckled. Liu Ruyan's chest seemed to be hit hard by someone. She couldn't help but clench her fist until her nails pierced her palm. "Since you've come from afar, can I introduce myself politely? I'm Pei Qingshi, Shan Du's Pei Qingshi." "Then I know. You're the daughter of the driver adopted by the Shen family. You're the ungrateful person who was kicked out of the Shen family by Shan Du's grandmother because of your dirty hands and feet." I raised my eyebrows indifferently. Pei Qingshi didn't get easily angered by Liu Ruyan, but I frowned to protect her. "Liu Ruyan and Qingshi are not who you said. By the way, why are you here? You violated the law by trespassing into a private estate without permission." Hearing that I was chasing him away, Liu Ruyan's face was extremely ugly. For a moment he completely forgot that he was here to coax me back. "I'm going to go home, not to quarrel with me, Shan Du. I've come to you in person. Please don't act like a child with me anymore. Just go home and I'll look at Liu Ruyan like a fool." I asked him if he had a brain injury. "I've divorced you. Didn't you see the signed divorce agreement? The chance of the courier being lost is small, but it's not impossible." Just when I was thinking about reprinting a divorce agreement and letting the woman take it away, I heard him say shamelessly, "The so-called divorce agreement had been torn to pieces by me a long time ago. Shan Du, I know what you are angry about. I've already dealt with Fang Yi's matter. I can assure you that from now on, he will never show up." "Love your eyes." Liu Ruyan eagerly walked into me, raised her hand to touch the face she had been thinking about day and night. But before she touched me, I pushed her away first. My tone was very flat. Liu Ruyan was when the Shen family was in trouble at the beginning. Only the Liu family extended a helping hand. In the past 9 years of marriage, I have been trying my best to repay the kindness. Now you are pregnant with Fang Yi's child, and the Liu family finally has a successor. I sincerely wish you and your family of 3 happiness and peace forever. Having said this, how could someone as smart as Liu Ruyan not hear that I was determined to leave him? At this moment, the woman was completely panicked. "Why did you say such things, husband? Have you been with me for these 9 years just to repay the favor? Do you think I would believe such a clumsy lie?" Of course he wouldn't believe it. If I didn't love him, why would I ask him to kiss my cheek before going out every day? And why did I cry my eyes out like a walnut when he was sick and had surgery, and wait outside the operating room like a fool, refusing to leave no matter how anyone persuaded me? I obviously loved him so much that anyone with eyes could see that I was deeply in love with him, but what did he do? His eyes were full of the more obedient and tolerant I was in love, the more unscrupulously he bullied my personal dignity. He forgot that people are all made of flesh and blood. They become numb after too much pain, and gradually they will no longer indulge in depravity and waste their feelings. He squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying. Liu Ruyan's eyes were red and she looked at me deeply. "Shan Du, I really didn't know that Fang Yi's existence would make you so sad. He and I were just a one-night stand after drinking too much. I brought him home just to relieve my boredom. I won't do that again in the future." I shook my head firmly. "Liu Ruyan, I don't care what your relationship with Fang Yi is. You just need to know that I already have a new life here, and it's impossible for me to go back with you, so you should leave quickly." "What new life?" Liu Ruyan, who hadn't slept for 2 days and lost too much blood due to the tattoo, felt dizzy before she finished speaking. She fell into darkness suddenly. When he woke up again, it was 11 o'clock in the evening. He saw the bedside putting a glass of water brought by the servant. Liu Ruyan, who had misunderstood, walked out of the room with unconcealed joy, trying to find me despite his physical discomfort. However, when he came to the rooftop terrace along the spiral staircase with cold sweat on his forehead, what caught his eyes was the scene of Pei Qingshi and I kissing passionately. His heart suddenly tightened and ached. Liu Ruyan's lips were pale, and she rushed up in one step, grabbed Pei Qingshi's collar, and gritted her teeth and asked him why he seduced Shan Du at this point. Liu Ruyan could no longer deceive herself and regard Pei Qingshi as my nominal sister next door. "Shan Du is my husband." Pei Qingshi was amused by him. "Your husband, Liu Ruyan? Do you really regard Shan Du as your husband and cherish him?" Before Liu Ruyan could continue to attack, the hot-tempered Pei Qingshi slapped Liu Ruyan in the face. "If it weren't for Shan Du's kindness, I would have thrown you, a beast, outside the village to feed the wolves. I told you Shan Du is my fiancé now. No matter how shamelessly you harass him, he will not even look at you." Hearing this, Liu Ruyan put down her fist that was about to fight back in a daze, and looked at me in disbelief. "Is what he said true? Shan Du, we have been separated for less than a month, and you are going to marry someone else." I didn't tell Liu Ruyan. As early as the day I knew she was pregnant, I had already agreed to Qingshi, who had admired me since childhood, through Yang through the video. I just hugged Pei Qingshi tighter, and said to him with a smile. Liu Ruyan had an absurd face and said in a trembling voice, "Shan Du, are you crazy? You are my husband. I didn't agree to a divorce at all, but you turned around and messed around with other women. How dare you do this to me? Why don't you dare?" I tilted my head slightly and blinked leisurely. Is your consent something very important to me? Liu Ruyan, you take yourself too seriously. I'm telling you for the last time, I tell you, you are worthless in my heart, and we are really over. After saying this, ignoring Liu Ruyan, who was instantly distracted, Pei Qingshi and I held hands tightly, turned around and continued to watch the moon and chat. No one knew when Liu Ruyan left the manor, and no one cared, but she did not return to China. She bought a high-rise building near the manor with a view of the grape planting area. His daily schedule, in addition to holding remote video conferences with domestic management, was to drive to the iron gate of the manor, carrying countless flowers, or gifts that I had mentioned to him but he never gave me, and show up to wait for me. I neither paid attention to him nor changed my plans to go out for him. 9 years of extremely humble and misplaced marriage taught me one thing. Never change the direction of your life to accommodate someone, work when you should work, socialize when you should socialize. The world is so big, and I am only responsible for making myself happy. As for Liu Ruyan, I think the reason why she pestered me and refused to let go was definitely because Mr. Liu couldn't bear to part with me and repeatedly ordered him to ask for my forgiveness. So I called Mr. Liu in person and told him that I already had a fiancé and a new life, and asked him not to force Liu Ruyan to stay in England and do useless work because he felt sorry for me. However, after I made this call, Liu Ruyan unexpectedly stayed at the door of the manor for a whole month, just to look at me from afar through the car window. The first person who lost his temper was Pei Qingshi. Late that night, Pei Qingshi and I had just finished a party, and from a distance I saw Liu Ruyan standing under the streetlight, holding the same white roses. As soon as I got out of the car, the sky behind me suddenly scattered tens of thousands of rainbow fireworks. Pei Qingshi had watched the video of Liu Ruyan proposing to me countless times, as if to abuse himself. At that time, young and ignorant, I was just overwhelmed by the gorgeous fireworks. I was dizzy from the explosion of the hot fireworks. I happily agreed to Liu Ruyan's proposal. Now that I was attracted by the fireworks, Pei Qingshi, who had no sense of security, finally couldn't help rushing to Liu Ruyan and wrestling with her desperately with resentment. Liu Ruyan, you shameless mistress. You have been thinking about seducing my fiancé all day long. I have lived for more than 30 years and have never seen such a cheap dogskin plaster as you. I am a dogskin plaster, then what are you? Shendu and I have been together for 9 years, and you, the latecomer, are the mistress. I tell you, Shendu just misunderstood me now and thought that I really cheated on him and didn't love him anymore, so he reluctantly accepted you, the eternal spare tire. When I coax him down, he will immediately break off the engagement with you and return to my arms. Hearing this, Pei Qingshi was furious and dragged Liu Ruyan to the ground with a sneer. When I was sick before, it was Pei Qingshi who dropped all his work and came directly to me. She stayed with me until I recovered and was discharged from the hospital. At that time, Liu Ruyan used the excuse of being busy with work to buy 2 tickets to Prague Square. She accompanied Fang Yi to eat, drink and have fun, and visited the entire tourist city. No matter how I tried to stop them, the 2 women were still fighting. At that time, 2 foreign policemen happened to drive by. One of the policemen looked at Liu Ruyan and immediately got out of the car to stop the fight. Without saying anything, he took the 3 of us to a nearby hospital. As soon as we arrived at the hospital, I was pushed into Liu Ruyan's ward despite my concern for Pei Qingshi. At this moment, I finally understood that everything tonight was a trap designed by Liu Ruyan, and she went to such great lengths to do this drama just to have time to be alone with me. I asked her with a funny look on her face, "Is it necessary?" Liu Ruyan, who had 2 broken ribs, smiled at me embarrassedly with red eyes, and then said to me in a hoarse voice word by word, "Shandu, I miss you so much. I miss you so much that I'm going crazy." When the doctor came in to treat Liu Ruyan's injuries, I saw the tattoo on his chest. The sun, the moon and the stars. This is the family of 3 picture I designed myself. I remember Liu Ruyan's evaluation of this picture was very simple, just the moon. How can you match this kind of stuff? In the ward while Pei Qingshi was sent away, Liu Ruyan walked up to me, grabbed my wrist tightly, and refused to let go no matter what. "Shindu, I want to apologize to you in person. I'm sorry, husband. Everything is my fault. I will try my best to make it up to you. I only hope you can forgive me." Before I could say anything, his cell phone rang at the right time. It was Fang Yi calling. When the call was connected, Liu Ruyan turned on the PA microphone without hesitation. "Boss Liu, help me, Boss Liu." Assistant Liu suddenly broke into the apartment with a few people. "They want to kick me out. We have a child between us. I am the child's father." Listening to Fang Yi's heartbreaking cry, I begged you for help, but Liu Ruyan didn't even frown. "Fang Yi has no child anymore. I have aborted your child. And those posts about us loving each other and having children that you hired internet trolls to post online, I have asked someone to delete them. From now on, we have no relationship anymore." His breathing stopped for several seconds. Fang Yi, who was crying breathlessly, stammered and began to beg for mercy through the phone. Mr. Liu, you can punish me however you want. I beg you, please let our child go." When Liu heard Fang Yi's sudden and horrible scream, I instinctively frowned and blinked. Seeing my expression changed, Liu Ruyan immediately hung up the phone, took my hand and carefully placed it on her cheek. Liu Ruyan, who was extremely pale, said to me affectionately, "Shindu, you heard everything. Now there is no obstacle between us. Can you forgive me a little?" Even if it's only a little, it's all good. I'm smoking. I turned my dirty hands back and looked at the instantly lost woman. I didn't say anything and suggested to her that the psychiatric department of this hospital is very famous, and she should go and make an appointment right away. Liu Ruyan smiled weakly at me and said, "Okay, I'll listen to you." Liu Ruyan thought that she owed me so much in the past 9 years. It doesn't matter. He has realized his mistake and will definitely spend the rest of his life trying to make up for all he owed me. On the third day after he held this idea, Pei Qingshi and I held a grand wedding. When Liu Ruyan got wind of the news and rushed to the scene at a speeding speed, the gray-haired pastor had just finished reading the wedding vows. Liu Ruyan heard with her own ears that I smiled and said those 3 words to Pei Qingshi, who was wearing a white wedding dress. "Am I willing or not? Shendu, you can't marry her." My heart was numb, and the pain was so severe that my whole body felt like it was electrocuted. I knelt down on the bright red carpet. Mr. Liu, who was usually indifferent and self-sustaining at this moment, was like a woman drenched in a rainstorm. Like a homeless dog in the water, she knelt on the ground and begged me in a hoarse voice. "Husband, we won't get divorced. I have never thought of divorcing you. I beg you not to marry another woman." The disgust under her eyes was undisguised. I looked down at him and said, "Liu Ruyan, since Mr. Liu sent me a congratulatory red envelope, I can barely forgive your rude behavior of interrupting my wedding, but you are not welcome at my wedding with Qingshi. Please go back to where you came from." Hearing my heartless words, Liu Ruyan's tears finally flowed uncontrollably. "Shindu, I really know I was wrong. As long as you are willing to give me one last chance, I swear that I will change. I can't accept a life without you. Since you left, I miss you every day. Even in my dreams I see all the good things you once did to me. Shindu, I love you. I love you more than anyone else." I tore my heart and lungs and expressed my surging love regardless of anything. Liu Ruyan was so excited when she announced it in public that veins on her forehead bulged. She tore off her clothes, pointed at the moon pattern that was still bleeding, and said with blood dripping from her eyes, "You are my moon. Hubby, I can agree to anything you want. I only ask you not to leave me." Pucci saw that I was not moved at all and laughed out loud with her hands covering the corners of her mouth. Liu Ruyan was completely stunned. I met his distraught eyes and said calmly, "Liu Ruyan, I already have someone who truly loves me and I love him too. He is my bride Pei Qingshi. As for you, even if all the women in the world die, I can't be with you." Watching me happily accept it, Pei Qingshi, with red ears, put the 9-carat diamond ring firmly on my ring finger. Liu Ruyan felt that all the blood in her body had frozen into ice. When I held Pei Qingshi's hand and passed by Liu Ruyan, I hugged Pei Qingshi with a happy face and walked towards the outside of the auditorium. "Look, Shindu, my heart loves you all the time. Shindu, I beg you to look back and take one last look at my true heart." I heard Liu Ruyan's extremely humble roar and wailing. Pei Qing, who was nestling in my arms, was smiling sweetly and acting coquettishly. "My husband is crazy and it's terrible. Take me away quickly." I strode out of the church and put her in the passenger seat of the sports car with extreme tenderness. "Wife, let's elope." Pei Jingshi's eyebrows were curved, and she leaned on my shoulder, letting me step on the accelerator and run towards true happiness. "It's over."